Today, we're going to talk about my expectations for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. I'll go into detail about what kind of experience this final game should deliver, what it needs to get right, and what both I and the player community most want to see. But before we get started, if you enjoy game news, theories, and expectation videos like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly means a lot to me. Let's get started. For me, the most critical thing is this. This series is not trying to copy the original one-to-one. Remake and Rebirth already made that very clear. This trilogy wants to recreate the shock, excitement, and heartbreak we felt in the original, but through a modern narrative. So I'm not saying give us the exact same thing. What I want is balance. Respect the original, handle the iconic moments properly, but at the same time deliver a finale bold enough to make us say, wait, what happens next? And when I say finale, I really mean a finale. When Part 3 ends, I want to find myself saying, okay, this story is truly complete. Cloud's mental fractures, Sephiroth's true goal, this whole multiple realities situation, the big secrets on the livestream side. I want all of these to either be clarified or at least gain meaning in a way that leaves me satisfied. When the game ends, I don't want only question marks in my head. I want a strong sense of closure. I want my eyes to tear up in the final scene, but at the same time, say, yeah, this was it. Another major expectation I have is the world finally coming together as a whole. Rebirth gave us scale, but I think Part 3 needs to give us freedom. And here, there's one word, Highwind. I don't want Highwind to be just a symbol that appears in the story. I want to actually fly. I want to travel across the map, land wherever I want, and reach regions that once felt distant. I want to feel the world fully open up, not menu-based fast travel, real exploration, real journey. Connected to that, one of the biggest topics both I and the community talk about is pacing. I like side content, I enjoy mini-games, and I'm even fine with challenging optional content. But since Part 3 is the final game, the main story's rhythm needs to be stronger and more fluid. I want a flow that isn't constantly interrupted, that doesn't break the emotional buildup with more cinematic scene transitions. As the finale approaches, tension should rise, events should accelerate, and every hour should feel important. One of the biggest things I want to see in Part 3 is massive set-piece moments that truly explode. You know those huge turning points we remember from the original? I expect them to be presented with modern technology, pushing even beyond Rebirth's cinematic quality. The feeling of the northern continent, the atmosphere of icy regions, the weight of an approaching apocalypse, everything should be darker, more threatening, and epic enough to make you feel like we're heading toward the end of the world. Especially the final route the story takes. I want the tone of Part 3 to grow heavier and heavier, because at this point, the game moves from adventure to fate. Cloud's inner conflict stops being just a personal issue and becomes something that determines the fate of the entire party. That's why character moments need to be stronger in Part 3. Not just moving from boss to boss, I want scenes where characters truly pause, breathe, hold on to each other, break down, and stand back up again. And here, one topic is extremely important, Zack. After Rebirth, my biggest curiosity is how Zack's place in this story will be handled. I don't want Zack included just for fan service. If he truly has a role in this story, I want it to connect meaningfully to the grand finale. Will Zack's presence merge with Cloud's psychology, or is he part of Sephiroth's plan? Part 3 needs to carry this with real weight and clarity. The same goes for Aerith. I'm very careful here, because Aerith is basically the heart of FF7. In Part 3, I don't want this topic to be overcomplicated to the point where it kills the emotion, nor do I want it to be handled too simply and lose its importance. Protect the emotion. Break my heart, but do it in a meaningful way. In the finale, I don't want to focus on what happened. I want to feel why it mattered so much. And of course, at some point, it all comes down to this: Sephiroth's true endgame. In Remake and Rebirth, Sephiroth's presence feels much stronger, almost like a force that exists above the game itself. In Part 3, I want his plan to be fully revealed, but not through a simple exposition scene. I want it delivered step by step, in a terrifying way. I don't want Sephiroth to feel like just a final boss. I want him to feel like a catastrophe looming over the entire world. Another huge expectation I have when it comes to Part 3 is the weapon battles. This is where the final game should reach its peak on the spectacle side. I don't want to just see these massive threats from a distance and move on. Each weapon should feel like a separate disaster. Not just creatures with huge HP bars, I want multi-phase, strategy-heavy battles that escalate scene by scene and sometimes even change the world itself. I want moments where I say, okay, the game has officially entered final mode. And if the weapons are going to be this big, then Part 3 needs to push boundaries in boss design as well. Rebirth already had some great bosses, but in the final game, this needs to reach an unforgettable level. Every boss shouldn't just be about action. It should be a piece of the story, a character trial, a psychological pressure point. Some bosses should terrify you, some should hit emotionally, and some should make you feel pure survival instinct. The final game's biggest strength will be balancing this variety correctly. Another topic, exploration with the high wind isn't just about flying, the content itself needs to matter. I want to be able to land anywhere, but I don't want those places to be empty photo spots. In Part 3, exploration should be rewarding. Hidden areas, secret quest chains, legendary items, interesting character encounters. I want the world to truly feel alive. Because in a final game, the world isn't just a backdrop. The world should feel like a character in the story itself. And at this point, we arrive at that legendary topic everyone thinks about, Knights of the Round. I don't want this to be just another ordinary summon. In Part 3, Code R should truly be the crown jewel of the final game, but not through a simple quest. It should come through a long adventure chain, a powerful challenge, and if possible, a discovery path with real narrative meaning. When I finally get it, I want to feel like, okay, I earned this. Code R shouldn't just be strong, it should be legendary. Of course, while all of this is happening, I also expect the gameplay to become more practical and fluid. For example, loadout systems should be easier for players who want to experiment with builds. Organizing materia, changing equipment, setting up party compositions, all of this should feel smoother in the final game so I can truly enjoy the system. Because in Part 3, characters need to reach their full potential. I want to feel fully geared. Best weapons, best abilities, best combinations, and true freedom in build diversity. Let me also say this. When it comes to side content in Part 3, I expect a more balanced approach. In Rebirth, some side activities were genuinely fun, while others honestly disrupted the pacing of the main story. I'm not completely against minigames. They're part of FF7's DNA. But in the final game, side content shouldn't undermine the weight of the main narrative. I want something more selective, more polished, and more in service of the story. For example, even if there are minigames, I want their reward systems to be more meaningful. Not just filling icons on the map, they should give you something real. Sometimes unlock a character scene, sometimes grant a legendary materia, sometimes make you say, I understand this world better now. In the final game, everything should carry weight, because the story is heading toward its peak, and I want every hour to feel valuable. In the same way, I expect character relationships in Part 3 to be written more strongly. I don't want the party to feel like NPC warriors running next to me. These people are experiencing trauma together, loss together, and walking toward the end of the world together. Their bonds should be felt more deeply. Small dialogues, camp moments, quiet scenes, even arguments followed by reconciliation, these are what carry the emotion in a final game. And in Part 3, I want that emotion to reach its peak. Another expectation I have is on the technical side. Part 3 should feel like the showcase of this generation. Cleaner animation transitions, better optimization, smoother combat, faster loading times, all of it matters. In the final game, I don't want technical issues pulling me out of the atmosphere. On the contrary, I want every scene to pull me in even deeper. If such a cinematic experience is the goal, then technical quality is no longer a luxury, it's a requirement. And then we come to the riskiest but most exciting part of Part 3, the massive question marks Rebirth left behind. Multiple realities, timelines, different layers of the life stream, whatever it is, it needs a payoff now. I don't want a story that's complicated just to be complicated. I want it to have emotional purpose. Let it connect with Cloud's mind, Sephiroth's plan, and Aerith's meaning. When the puzzle is complete at the end, I don't just want to say I understand, I want to say I felt it. And the best part of all this is, before Part 3 comes out, we're all feeling the same thing. Massive excitement mixed with massive curiosity. Because this game isn't just a sequel, it's the final word of a story that has been growing for years. These are my expectations. I want the finale to truly feel like a finale, the world to fully open up with the high wind, the weapon battles to be legendary, the story pieces to finally fall into place, and most importantly, I want this journey to emotionally satisfy me. But now it's your turn. What do you want to see the most in Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3? High-wind freedom, weep in boss fights, how Cloud's mental fracture will be resolved, or Sephiroth's final plan? And do you think Square Enix should stay completely faithful to the original story, or be open to even bigger surprises? Write your thoughts in the comments, and if you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more F videos like this. Your support truly means a lot to me. See you in the next video.